All right, all right. We are back for the second week in a row. Just cleaning up the camera a little bit. And it has a lot has happened in a week, has it not? A lot has come to fruition, just as I said it would. Not that I'm a mind reader or that I predicted anything crazy. Um, was I shocked by the result? A little bit. But was I shocked by the effect of the result? No. What did we see? Bitcoin went through the roof, right? Bitcoin skyrocketed immediately. Um, and in fact, if you were watching, as I was, because I'm always in the charts, if you were watching the charts and you were seeing the price action, slowly but surely, Bitcoin got stronger and stronger and stronger even before they called the election. Something the market's new. The market's new, and it has hit a all-time high. So, with that, we are going to look at a couple of charts so that we understand what exactly is happening. Now, today's live is not going to be that long. We'll go over what has happened over the last 24 hours. We'll look at what has happened over the last um, 7 days since our last show. And from there, hopefully, we'll get an understanding of what is coming next. So, just going to share my screen. So, right now, we are looking at the Bitcoin price. I'm going to clean up this chart so it looks a little bit better. We are looking at the daily chart. So, every bar is a day. And we're actually going to zoom in on the 4 hour. And yeah, about 6 p.m., if you look at down at the bottom of the chart, you'll see Tuesday, 05, November 5th at 6 p.m. That is basically when Bitcoin ran off the chart. For the next 4 hours, it went up. If we zoom in a little bit more, really around 6, 8 p.m. basically, and it tapped an all-time high today around 2 o'clock, 76,461, it looks like. So I've done the research, and I'm not necessarily going to dive into that right now, but basically, the lowest price that Bitcoin is at on the day of the election is the floor for all future prices. Bitcoin has never retraced below the price it is at on the day of the election in its history. So, for everybody last week that was kind of thinking, okay, maybe I can wait, maybe it'll come down, maybe it'll come to 69,000. It seemed like it did dip a little bit after our conversation, our last live, but it immediately went back up. And at this point, you can basically guarantee that you're never going to see the price action within the 60K region, 60 to 69,000 region ever again. If history rhymes, right? Maybe we're all wrong and there's a little bit of an anomaly that occurs, but at the end of the day, don't bank your future on that. That's why we were told to get off zero last week. If you got off zero, you're sitting pretty. You're up a few percentage point. And when we're looking at what comes next, I think that's the point of this show is really to figure out what comes next. What's the next step? What's the next action I could take? What can I expect in terms of the how the political atmosphere will affect my portfolio? So Donald Trump took Bitcoin and crypto as a staple in his platform. He is actively hiring people that are pro crypto, pro Bitcoin, and they are going to institute some rules and regulations and actions that will skyrocket the price of Bitcoin. The first of which, if he gets it done, it'll probably require Congress to pass a law. And now that he has the Senate, I don't know if he's going to get the House, but if he gets all three branches of government, that's pretty much it. He can pass anything he wants, at least for the first 2 years before midterm elections, and the country swings as it normally does. So the first thing they're going to do is they're going to pass what they call a Bitcoin strategic reserve. And that is what is it's simple, right? We have a pile of gold in like Fort Knox. We sit on that gold, we use it as an asset. It no longer backs our currency, but it's an asset we can borrow against, things like that. They're going to stockpile Bitcoin. It's going to happen. And once and other countries are already purchasing Bitcoin, the US does not purchase Bitcoin. Now, we have confiscated quite a lot, either from drug dealers or illicit organizations or, whoever it is, we've confiscated a lot. Instead of selling that in the open market, which is what we've done in the past, that'll likely go directly into a Bitcoin strategic reserve. If we then start purchasing Bitcoin in the open market as a country, what do you think that'll do to the price of Bitcoin? Straight up in the air, right? So, first thing is they're going to create a Bitcoin strategic reserve. The second thing they're going to do is they're going to reduce the regulations. Right now, there is what you call Operation Choke Point 2.0. And it is basically a financial, um, it's strict rules around the financial well-being of crypto companies. Basically, you can't bank in America as a crypto company. You cannot open a bank account for a crypto company in America. And all of those regulations are going to be loosed. All of those regulations are going to be reduced, among many, many other things, which means that capital investment will come back to the United States. Right now, Abu Dhabi, UAE, Russia, there's a ton of other countries that startups and venture capitalists are going in order to make money in this space. All of that will come back to the United States. Bitcoin mining is going to go off the charts. If you guys are interested in any Bitcoin mining companies, there are quite a few. I think Wolf is one of them. Mara. Um, Let me think. There's a couple others. Those are a couple of the tickers that you can look at as Bitcoin mining investment options. They tend to track the price of Bitcoin. They go up with Bitcoin, they go down with Bitcoin in multiples. So they could be 2x the price of Bitcoin. They'll go up double from a percentage point perspective. And then beyond that, we're talking about psychologically, what's going to happen is Bitcoin's continue to hit new all-time highs through the end of the year, and then 100K is going to hit. And once it hits 100K, it'll be a cultural phenomenon all over again. And at that point, there'll be FOMO across the board, and it'll probably skyrocket to 125 before it falls back down, retraces, balances itself out, creates a new floor, and then goes again. So again, what our goal today, as we have talked about in plenty of the other in the other videos, is to make sure you understand that there is no time to waste. There is no time to wait. Just waiting a week. Look, you lost out on that price action that already occurred. Just um so you know I'm this stuff a lot. I'm gonna be honest. Today was tough to, shake um what I thought was going to happen from an election perspective. But now you have to remember at the end of the day that the only color that matters is green, not red or blue, in this great capitalist country of ours. And I'm going to begin positioning myself. Um, I'm going to begin positioning myself in order to take advantage of what is happening. And to be candid, I traded this entire the last 24 hours, buying in, purchasing cryptocurrencies here, Bitcoin, Ethereum, a number of different ones, meme coins, you name it. And while emotionally I'm in a low, I've 3x, 4x my money in the last 24 hours. So there is always an opportunity. There's always a moment in time for you to take advantage of what's going on. Because I look at it every single day. I'm always in it. I know it's coming around the corner. Um, it's not a surprise to me, but because you guys are along for this ride, you're going to begin to ride this wave, right? He's not going to get into office until January, but he's going to start positioning himself and communicating specific things that will happen in his presidency. Now, in between now and then, the Federal Reserve is going to continue to cut interest rates. And every time you cut interest rates, the price of money goes down, which means more money will be borrowed, which means there's more money in the system, which means more money goes into assets. Bitcoin is the most liquid asset on the planet because it's traded globally. So tomorrow, what you're going to want to look out for. Let me see what time it's going to come out. Fed meeting tomorrow. The Fed is going to announce its policy rates, likely around 2 p.m. Eastern. And if they cut interest rates, which everyone expects they will, probably about a quarter percentage point, expect Bitcoin to go up again. It'll probably rally into the announcement, dip a little bit, and then continue to go up. So if you're looking at, oh, Bitcoin's at $76,000 right now, it'll probably go back down to 70. Don't wait. Buy a little bit now, keep some money on hand, and then if it dips, you can buy some later. But again, it from a psychology perspective, when you have an asset in a market, there are buyers and sellers between a specific range. Once the price of that asset goes into an all-time new, once it gets higher than any other prices it's ever had in its history, there is no more buyers and sellers above this. There's no one sitting on some coins that are worth $80,000 waiting to sell once you get there, which means price action can speed up so fast. So if you think that Bitcoin is going to retrace, come back, slow down, think the opposite. It is going to speed up. It is going to get so fast. And because this is most of the audience's first Bitcoin cycle, Bitcoin bull cycle, you don't realize how fast Bitcoin can move. In 3 weeks, it could be at $100,000. Bang, bang, bang. $5,000 candles every single day, right? So don't fool yourself. Don't lull yourself back to sleep. I'm going to continue to pound the table about the fact that you need to get off zero. Now, I will tell you, we had a couple of people text message me right after the show saying, "Bam, I got off zero. I got a little bit. I bought some through Robinhood. I bought some through Coinbase. We got people buying some today. Like at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what price you get, what price in US dollars. You want to get to 100 million Satoshis, which is one Bitcoin. That's what you need to be thinking about. It's like buying a little bit of a house all at once. You don't care that you own a wall. You want to own the whole house. So get a whole house. Who cares what dollar value it is in? Now, of course, it's an asset. It's growing. It has equity. You're trying to improve your lifestyle. So, converting that back into dollars at some point or borrowing against it is going to help you live your life in a higher quality. But right now, your whole goal is not even to think about it in dollars. Only think about it in Bitcoin. How much Bitcoin do you have? Do you have point 0.1? Do you have point 0.2? Do you have point 0.5? Do you have point 0.0001? It doesn't matter. Look at that digit and make that digit grow, that decimal point grow. Um, so we listen. It is uh it is going to be important to get into the weeds of everything over the coming weeks so that you build the conviction. Because what's going to happen going forward is you're going to start seeing astronomical gains. If you get in now, if you got in last week, you've already seen a growth on your money, and you're like, oh, you know what? It hit 100 grand. I should take my money out, or I should sell it. It hit 500 grand. I should take my money out. I should sell it. We're going to be spending the next few weeks making sure that you understand why you should never sell your Bitcoin, because your grandchildren's grandchildren are going to look at you as a phenomenon if you own a whole Bitcoin, right? If you think about it, there are what, 9 billion people on the planet right now? Two, three, one, two, three, one, two, three, one, two, three, divided by 21 million. There's only like, there can only be around 300,000 people on the planet that can own a whole Bitcoin if you're to split it up evenly, right? Um, and if everybody got one piece of it, everybody would have less than a whole Bitcoin, which means your goal should get to a whole Bitcoin. In 10 years, you will be looked at as a unicorn if you own a whole Bitcoin, because it'll be basically impossible for anybody to achieve at that point, right? We are entering what is going to be the golden age of crypto. The next 4 years is going to create so much wealth in Bitcoin specifically, but also in the broader crypto universe, which you should think about as new age tech companies. That amount of wealth and the regulation or deregulation that's going to occur because of Donald Trump basically coming in and saying, I'm take a sledgehammer to all regulations everywhere and I'm pro crypto. The combination of those two, you are going to see gains like nobody's business. So at some point, I will be starting a more private video club to kind of dive into some of those investment opportunities, so that people can and we're literally in a gold rush. Yes, that we're absolutely in a gold rush. If you think about it, there was a point where everybody moved to California. Everybody is literally mining for gold. That is where we are at right now. The companies out here are actual Bitcoin miners. They are buying up real estate. They're buying up NVIDIA chips. They're buying up assets. They're buying up land. They're building, like, these people are getting hella creative. There is like I told you last time, there's a Bitcoin mining company in Venezuela, I believe, that operates their rig off of volcano heat. Methane that comes off of landfills. There's Bitcoin miners that operate off of that. Hydroelectricity. It doesn't matter. What you need is electricity. If you can generate that electricity, then you can mine Bitcoin. Now, you want to mine it fast, you want to mine it efficiently, then you need a supercharged chip to do it, to run the calculations as fast as possible. So buying the Bitcoin rigs and paying for cheap electricity is the gold rush. Now, you don't need to be a gold rush. You need to be you don't need to be a gold rush. You don't need to be a miner. You need to be an investor right now. We talked about it last time. The amount of money that you're going to spend getting set up with a mining rig, plus the amount of time it would take you to understand how to stand that rig up, make it operational, understand the underpinnings, all of that time, you're going to miss out on the growth. Spend the 16 grand if you have it. Instead of buying a mining rig, put that in Bitcoin. It'll turn to 30 grand by the time you do your research, right? And again, this live stream isn't a private live stream. If you guys want to share it with anybody, feel free to share it with anybody. My goal is to get as many people off zero as possible. Um, Literally, like I want to do a count and be like, all right, I have converted 100 people by the end of the year, 200 people by the end of the year, whatever the case is, because you're going to change your entire life trajectory. Emotionally, it was tough, but when I think about why, basically, I'm opting out of the system. The system is a false dichotomy between red and blue. It is a packaged idea of what inflation is that's not true, right? Inflation isn't caused by the price of goods increasing. Inflation is caused by the amount of money in circulation increasing, and the government does that, right? Human beings in the economy can't create new cash. Only the government can. And so both of those things occur under Republican governments as well as under Democratic governments. And maybe there's an extra benefit on one side or the other, depending on who's in office, that gets to me. But at the end of the day, my money's still eroding. I'm still in the rat race and I'm still chasing wealth with assets that also erode because they're all priced in dollars. Bitcoin allows me to opt out of that because now the work that I do, now it can be stored and used later without it eroding. So if I create $1 million worth of work right now and I were to store that in Bitcoin, in 10 years, that'll be $10 million stored up, right? It's going to exponentially increase its value. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be breaking down kind of the concepts of what Bitcoin is and more deeply how it affects different parts of society so that again you can gain the conviction necessary to hold on to your Bitcoin. Everybody gets introduced to Bitcoin as a gambler, as a speculator, as a trader. You get in, you want the number to go up. It's all about number go up. But that's also what piques your interest. It gets you excited. I want to get you past that all the way to evangelist as quickly as possible. I don't want you to get stuck at number go up and then once the number goes down, or because it goes up and it goes down. It will. Bitcoin will probably 3 years from now, it could come back down, go up to 250, come down to $100,000. But if you're stacking that entire time, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. So, um, let me see. And if you're unaware, right? The markets are pricing in a lot of money going into risk assets. If you notice today, the stock market went up, gold went down because gold is not a risky asset, it's a risk off asset. So when people are scared or unsure, they go into gold, which is why gold went up all the way to the election. As soon as the election was settled, it wouldn't matter who won, gold went down because now uncertainty is out of the market. You have the entire stock market going up. I think it gained like $1.36 trillion in value in one day. You had Bitcoin going up. Tomorrow, they're going to introduce the rate cut. As soon as that happens, assets are going to continue to fly. So you need to be positioned to take advantage of this wave. It's going to be a wave of money, a wave of capital, and it is going to increase all assets. So if your house is probably going to go up in value. The stock market is definitely going to go up in value. Now the difference is I don't know how long the wave will last. Now from a regular cycle, Bitcoin bull market cycle, we have at least until October of next year to ride this wave. How high will Bitcoin go? My gut tells me at least 250. But it could go much higher than that, or it could, land somewhere between, 125 and 250. In that time, we're going to be not only evangelist ourselves, understanding what Bitcoin is, but we're going to be positioned to start taking advantage of the new wave of wealth. And that is where people, you're going to be investing in the new Amazons, the new Googles, the new AI plays, all of these companies that are coming out with billion-dollar valuations out the gate because VCs know that they're worth trillions, right? Because they're exponential. They create a network between individuals. Um, and so we're gonna touch on a couple of those. I wanted to tap in just for about 30 minutes, just give you a price update, let you know what the expectation is. Bitcoin is not going back below $70,000. Okay. Don't even expect it. Don't ask the question. Don't worry about it. Bitcoin's never going back below $70,000. That day is done. So if you want some at this price, buy it right now. No, I do not trade Bitcoin. I do not trade Bitcoin. I do have other assets that I'll trade. I'll buy low, sell high, and then do that over and over and over again. I just jumped out of a position. I made a quick K in, a quick stack in today. I'll jump back in once it settles down and it's looking to go back up. But the pent up demand for the market is going to make it skyrocket. Um, yeah, I wouldn't even worry about setting limits and whatnot. If you're see the problem with trading in general is that you're playing poker with the markets, and most people don't have a good poker face. And so what happens is they'll FOMO in, right? The market will go like this. They'll see, oh, the market's going. I got to get in before it keeps going even higher. And they get in up here. Markets calms down. It dips a little bit. It retraces as it does. It's healthy. And they're like, dang, I lost out. So they sell. Market goes back up. Oh man, I get back in. And so you're going to do that over and over and over again. And I promise you, if you want to learn how to trade, you can do that. Trade it with fake money, in trading view and in a lot of other places, but you're going to have to learn your lesson, and the only way to learn your lesson is to lose money. it, every trader goes through it. Every trader goes through it. So I would not have that pain point with this asset. This asset is meant to grow forever. 80K. I mean, 80 could be 80. Once we're past it, 80 could be the floor, right? Like 70, 80K is about to be the floor. Let's just hop into very quickly. So I'm gonna go up to the weekly time frame. Now, let me see. Let's see. Here we go. All right, back up to the week. And November 2020. That's what I want to look at. So this is November 2020, right? November 2nd. The low of that month, or that week rather, from like November 2nd to November 9th. The low of that week was $13,000 or so. Okay. If you see, if we set, just put a little horizontal line from there. So this yellow line, you will see no matter what, because this is the bull cycle, right? This run up all the way to the top. And then there's the bear market, and it lasts for about 3 years and it comes back down. But if you notice, it never goes back down below that line. Right now, we had an initial start to our bull market. November is right now basically the low of that month, not that month, rather, but that week. It's a little higher than that. I think let's just call it 70,000 for right now. I don't know exactly what the lowest price was yesterday offhand. Um, let's see, November 5th. The lowest price was about 67,000 or so. That's going to be your floor forever. It's never going to go back below that price. Now this is based on modeling. It's probabilities, right? Like I can't say anything for sure, but that is the action that has occurred every single election that has occurred, right? So all the way back to 2016, the lowest price was about 600 and $600, and Bitcoin never touches that again. It's gone. It is gone. So I would not expect Bitcoin to ever go below $70,000 again. Not in any meaningful way, right? I would just psychologically say to myself, it's gone. So it looks like you guys can you see the trading view screen at all? Let me try this. Do window. All right. So can you see the screen now? Cool. So as I was saying, November of 2020, the lowest price was about $13,000. And during the bear market, which just means like when Bitcoin drops down, um, it gets close to that, but it never goes below it ever again. So here we have Bitcoin's lowest prices probably around, let's go 3 day, Wednesday, Tuesday. Lowest price on the wick is about $65,000. Where is it? Tuesday. $66,000. That's going to be your floor for the rest of history. So, um and if you're not aware, right? If we go back to the last election, November 2020, you'll notice how it's straight up, right? All these green dots just shows it's straight up. It's going straight up for at least a month. I mean, at least a year. Um, in the last cycle, we had a dip because of a big scandal that occurred in crypto with Sam Bankman-Fried and his platform FTX. So we should have gone straight up all the way up here, but we had to, fall out and then come back up, resume our momentum. So if Bitcoin goes straight up after this year's election, you know, which it will do, it already did. Like, look at that candle. That is a 3 day candle. On the daily, it went up 10%, right? 10% in a day. And that's easy work for Bitcoin. Like, that's nothing. It's nothing. So we are if you let's see. If you notice here, even from a bigger time frame perspective, from a charting perspective, this is what we call a cup and handle formation. You have the cup, change that to yellow, make it much bigger. We have the cup, and then we have the handle, right? Normally, what happens is that in order to finish this out, you take the top of the cup to the bottom, and that same distance from the end of the handle is the finishing of the move. So you can expect Bitcoin to hit at least $130,000 just based on this long term pattern that has occurred. This big ass cup and handle. So you don't want to wake up tomorrow and Bitcoin's at 90,000. Psychologically, you're going to be chasing it. You just want to buy as much as possible, whenever possible, over and over and over again. So we are at 7:30 right now. I did want to keep it short just because I do have a meeting to go to at 8. Next week, we're going to be a little bit more in depth. We're going to start looking at the technicals. We're going to start breaking down the different people who are stakeholders of Bitcoin, and then how it is secured. So it's not just magic internet money. It is not owned by anybody. It is not a company. We're going to understand the concept of decentralization, all of that. So if you guys have any more questions, feel free to text me individually. As we continue to do this, we'll get more and more. The agenda on how these live shows will get more seamless, so we understand exactly what it is that we're expecting on a weekly basis. And of course, if you can't make it, there's always going to be a replay on what's going on. So with that, I do appreciate everybody that has joined. I will be catching up with you next week back at our original time of 8 p.m. Unless I hear that 7 is a better time for most people, we'll probably keep it at 8. So with that, I'm going to sign off. And again, appreciate you guys' support, and we'll chat next week. If you're not off zero, get off zero. All right.